LA Rider is brought to you by Dudley DeBosier Injury Lawyers, serving Louisiana motorcyclists and their families for nearly 2 decades. Dudley DeBosier, official injury lawyers for the Motorcycle Awareness Campaign.
When you're on a motorcycle, you got to look out for all kinds of stuff. But after a crash, it's a danger you can't see that can really get you.
The insurance company is working behind the scenes to deny you compensation.
They're building a case against you, but at Dudley DeBosier, we're working for you.
Keep your head on a swivel. Let these guys look out for you. Motorcycle crash? Demand different. Demand Dudley DeBosier. 444-4444.
Hello and welcome to another edition of LA Rider, Louisiana's #1 source for motorcycle lifestyles, travel, and adventure. I'm Amanda Jo and we are so glad you are joining us today. This week, TW takes a ride to Franklinton, Louisiana for a visit to Swamp Monsters, where she takes on a real monster of a burger. We head over to the Raising Cane's River Center in Baton Rouge and check out all the cool rides at the Bayou Motor Fest. Plus, you will find more than sweets at the Sugar Shack. All this and more coming up on LA Rider. So kickstands up, it's time to take a ride.
LA Rider is brought to you by the Motorcycle Awareness Campaign, a 501c3 nonprofit organization exclusively dedicated to promoting motorcycle awareness and rider safety throughout Louisiana and the nation.
I didn't see him.
She just came out of nowhere.
Oh God, what am I gonna do?
Watch for us.
See us.
Watch for us.
See us.
Watch for us.
See us. Watch for us.
See us.
Watch for us.
Save us.
Nearly 2/3 of all motorcycle fatalities are caused by distracted and inattentive drivers. Please, watch for motorcycles.
Welcome back. I'm Amanda Jo and you're watching LA Rider. Here's a question for you. What do TW and actor Kevin Bacon have in common? Well, both have been to Swamp Monster. So what is Swamp Monster? Well, I'm glad you asked.
It was another hot summer day in South Louisiana as Red Ryder and I headed out on a Friday morning in June, looking for good roads and a great meal. LA Rider viewers Don and Deborah Passman know my passion for big burgers, and they told me about one being served in the Washington Parish town of Franklinton. Well, you know me, a little hot weather isn't going to keep me away from a big, juicy hamburger. Now, I know a thing or two about riding in hot weather. Cover up, hydrate, and stick to the tree tunnels. You know, those tree-shaded 2-lane back roads where the temperatures are often 5 to 10 degrees cooler. So I chose a route that provided me with an occasional tree tunnel to give me a break from the blazing sun. My hour-and-a-half ride ultimately took me to Louisiana Highway 16 into St. Helena and Tangipahoa parishes, right through Amite City and on to Washington Parish. Franklinton is about 60 miles north of New Orleans and 90 miles east of Baton Rouge. It is the Washington Parish seat of government, but it is best known as the home of the Washington Parish Free Fair, the largest free county fair in the country. The fair takes place every October when the weather is a little cooler. But I hadn't come to Franklinton for turkey legs and cotton candy. I was here to take on a giant hamburger at a place called Swamp Monster. Well, Don and Deborah Passman tell me they have a great burger here at the Swamp Monster restaurant, so let's check it out. They've never steered me wrong before. Now, Swamp Monster may seem like a strange name for a restaurant, but it was a natural for owner Antonio Morales, who says from a very early age he has been fascinated by creatures like Sasquatch and swamp monsters.
Growing up in the swamps back then, it was nothing but swamps. Only like 2 houses in the whole subdivision. So we had no other choice but to play in the swamps, you know? So I clearly remember that when the Bigfoot first came out, the Sasquatch, back in, I think it was 1968 or 69, it first came out. We were all intrigued by it, you know? And then, of course, you know, as kids, the very next day, we see Bigfoot in the swamps all the time, you know?
In fact, the entire restaurant is decked out in a swamp theme, with critters and creatures everywhere. There are even crickets in the bathrooms, but you'll have to discover those on your own. I'm not sure what Marilyn Monroe has to do with the swamp theme, but I absolutely love Marilyn. But let's talk about food. The Swamp Monster menu features all sorts of good things: burgers, po' boys, soups, and gumbo, plus a load of tasty appetizers. I was here for a burger, but Antonio suggested I first try his special seafood gumbo and something he calls Cajun cigars. I'll have to look and see what's in here, but they come highly recommended. Shrimp inside, so you know I'm gonna love it. The burger menu features entrees like the Swamp Burger, the Swamp Monster Burger, and the Bigfoot Burger. But the one called the Triple Bypass caught my eye. It features an all-beef patty, sautéed onions, mushrooms, and jalapenos, topped with pepper jack cheese and a special Cajun sauce. Add a hot sausage patty, bacon, and a fried egg. And, well, you may need a triple bypass after eating one of these. I need some help lifting this. Gosh, that thing weighs a ton. Amazing. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just crazy good. The food at Swamp Monster is definitely worth the trip, no matter where you're coming from or what you're riding. Just ask actor Kevin Bacon. He dropped in recently for a monster burger, and he was driving an electric car. Wow, I just had a triple bypass. Somebody call EMS, but what a way to go.
Swamp Monster isn't the only great place to eat in Franklinton. When we come back, we'll check out what's just down the street.
At G & Gonzalez, we do it all, from really big to the really small. Keeping you safe? No problem. We have the latest AOT racing gear found exclusively at G & Gonzalez. Don't monkey around, head on down to G & Gonzalez of Baton Rouge, where the fun begins.
When you're on a motorcycle, you got to look out for all kinds of stuff. But after a crash, it's a danger you can't see that can really get you.
The insurance company is working behind the scenes to deny you compensation.
They're building a case against you, but at Dudley DeBosier, we're working for you.
Keep your head on a swivel. Let these guys look out for you. Motorcycle crash? Demand different. Demand Dudley DeBosier. 444-4444.
I didn't see him.
She just came out of nowhere.
Oh, God, what am I gonna do?
Watch for us.
See us.
Watch for us.
See us.
Watch for us.
See us. Watch for us.
See us.
Watch for us.
Save us.
Nearly 2/3 of all motorcycle fatalities are caused by distracted and inattentive drivers. Please, Watch for motorcycles.
Want a high-quality used motorcycle delivered to your door with a money-back guarantee? At usedbikesdirect.com, you can choose from hundreds of high-quality American, Japanese, and European motorcycles. Just browse our website, pick your bike, get your financing, and arrange your trade-in, all from the comfort of your home. And we'll deliver it straight to your door for free, complete with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Buying a used motorcycle has never been easier or safer. Just go to usedbikesdirect.com and start shopping.
For more than 40 years, Robert Rad Leonard has provided South Louisiana motorcyclists with all their needs, from a showroom jam-packed with all the latest gear to a full-service shop featuring skilled technicians who handle everything from routine service to complete engine rebuilds. Rad Cycles also carries a huge selection of pre-owned models and has the area's largest inventory of used bike parts. For all your riding needs, do what South Louisiana motorcyclists have been doing since 1978. Go Rad. Rad Cycles. They're rider recommended. Looking for a trailer? Check out Mike Gerald's Trailer Depot. At Mike's 2 Baton Rouge locations, you'll find a huge inventory of high-quality motorcycle trailers, boat trailers, cargo trailers, utility trailers, and custom-built trailers. Plus, the largest inventory of trailer parts and accessories in the area. Can't find that perfect trailer? Let Mike build one for you. Mike Gerald's Trailer Depot. 2 locations in Baton Rouge to serve you. They're rider recommended.
Welcome back. I'm Amanda Jo, and this is LA Rider. Seeing TW's ride to Swamp Monster reminded me of a trip I took a while back to another great Franklinton restaurant. And don't let the name fool you, there is a lot more than sweets at the Sugar Shack. On a beautiful April morning, with the sun in the sky and a breeze in the air, I decided to take advantage of this perfect day and go for a ride. I left my home in Ponchatoula and hopped on LA 40 towards Folsom. Now, if you've ever been on this road, you know how peaceful and serene it can be in this rural terrain. It's a nice country road with plentiful farms and cows, but I think it should have been called the Azalea Trail, because at this particular time of year, every azalea bush around was in bloom, and we were in for a treat of natural beauty. Along this route, I rode by Folsom's Global Wildlife Center, which of course I had to take a small detour for. My love for animals is almost equivalent to the love for my own steel horse. But this will be a story for next time. As I continued on this morning's journey, the highway shifted to LA 25 and put me right alongside one of Louisiana's largest plant nurseries, situated on over 400 acres with 180 greenhouses. It's called Windmill Nursery, and it's really a sight to see if you ever get the chance to pass by. After an hour-long trek, I made it to the small town of Franklinton to eat at the Sugar Shack, a restaurant I've been anxious to try. The Sugar Shack began in 2000 by John Schilling, who used to be in the dairy industry. He says when the industry started to slow down, he had to find another source of income, and what better way than to serve those in his hometown with fresh, home-cooked meals in a local restaurant. Even further, he prides his restaurant with a mission to take care of those in need and goes by the policy, "We never close." When Hurricane Ida passed through, the Sugar Shack was out of power for around 6 days and still stayed open to help during this hard time. Just incredible. The food here is so good. The chicken just has an incredible taste. I've already made it through the mashed potatoes and the broccoli and cheese, but it's so good. What's a must-have when you come here? Special. What are you most proud of?
Probably our king cakes.
The king cakes?
Yeah, we run about 700 king cakes a day during January through, and we do them all the way through Easter. We don't do as many, after Mardi Gras is over, but that's one of our biggest drawing cards. We shipped them to 42 states this year.
Schilling states that the Sugar Shack is a popular motorcycle destination as they have multiple groups that come in every weekend. Now for my favorite part, the dessert. They had a whole bunch to choose from, peach cobbler, a little Oreo pie, but the banana pudding is always my favorite. Yep, it's definitely the best. Wow. After having such a wonderful meal, it was time to head back home. I would say a morning filled with a nice relaxing ride through the countryside, a high-quality restaurant destination, and home cooking like no other was a success. For LA Rider, I'm Amanda Jo.
I'm T.W. Robinson, and we're here at the Bayou Motor Fest at the River Center in Baton Rouge. And look at all the cars. About 100 classic cars, trucks, and motorcycles were on display in the Raising Cane's River Center. Hundreds of moto enthusiasts roamed the floor checking out all the vehicles. More than 20 classes were represented, everything from antiques to modern muscle cars. There was something for everyone, including me. Well, you know, I had to find the El Caminos. Those of you who know me know just how much I love classic El Caminos. Mine is basically stock, but this one is both a beauty and a beast. The kind of car that just cries out to be taken to the strip. But I think this has a little bit bigger motor than what I have in mind. There was plenty here to catch your eye and hold your attention, including several hot motorcycles. Honors went to Willie Bain's CFL build by Road Dogg Custom Motorcycles, which was featured right here on LA Rider. Although this year's show was a bit smaller than previous years, the entries were top-notch, and dozens of trophies were handed out. Congratulations to all the winners for showing off some really mad skills at the 2023 Bayou Motor Fest.
Stay with us. More LA Rider is coming your way right after this.
At Jandy Imports, we have everything for your ride. From high-quality leather jackets, vests, and chaps, to saddlebags, luggage, and riding boots. We have a large selection of helmets, too, and feature a full line of AmSoil and bike care products. At Jandy Imports, you'll find the area's largest selection of patches, all sewn on for you while you wait. You need it? We've got it. At Jandy Imports, the little store with the big inventory.
Come see us at Jandy Imports.
Motocross? We've got it at G & Gonzalez in Baton Rouge. All the bikes, all the gear, and the expertise to help make you number one at the track. From beginner to expert, we've got just what you need at G & Gonzalez in Baton Rouge. Come see us today at G & Gonzalez, Louisiana's oldest family-owned power sports dealer, located in downtown Baton Rouge in the shadow of the state capitol.
Race on down to G & Gonzalez. Becoming number one starts here.
We're waiting for you!
For the best in restorative and cosmetic dental care, choose Dr. Jason Hutto. Your smile is important and so is your overall oral health. And at the dental office of Jason Hutto, our aim is to provide the highest quality dental care. From implants and cosmetic procedures to fillings, root canals, and cleaning, choose Dr. Jason Hutto.
Hi, I'm Jason Hutto. Call for your appointment today.
But not on Fridays. That's the day we ride.
Just putting on leather and sitting on a bike doesn't make someone a biker, and it's easy to tell the posers from the pros.
Same goes for law firms. Just because someone's a lawyer doesn't mean they know motorcycle cases.
At Dudley DeBosier, we've been fighting for injured bikers all over Louisiana for years.
After a crash, get experience on your side. Call Dudley DeBosier. Motorcycle crash? Demand different. Demand Dudley DeBosier. 444-4444.
Support motorcycle safety and encourage other drivers to watch for motorcycles. Purchase a motorcycle awareness specialty plate for your car, truck, or motorcycle. For an additional $25 a year, you can help the Motorcycle Awareness Campaign promote safety, awareness, and training programs throughout Louisiana.
I'm T.W. Robinson. No matter what you ride, put a MAC plate on it and help support motorcycle awareness wherever you go.
Want a high-quality used motorcycle delivered to your door with a money-back guarantee? At usedbikesdirect.com, you can choose from hundreds of high-quality American, Japanese, and European motorcycles. Just browse our website, pick your bike, get your financing, and arrange your trade-in, all from the comfort of your home. And we'll deliver it straight to your door for free, complete with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Buying a used motorcycle has never been easier or safer. Just go to usedbikesdirect.com and start shopping.
A portion of Louisiana's Myths and Legends Byway takes you through Beauregard Parish. Much of modern Beauregard Parish was carved out of western Louisiana territory, once known as No Man's Land, because of a border dispute between Spain and the U.S. For nearly 20 years following the Louisiana Purchase in 1806, there was no law in this part of Louisiana, and that may be one of the reasons that Beauregard Parish features many tall tales and unusual stories. There's lots to see and do when traveling in Beauregard, from the serenity of Bundick Lake, a beautiful 1,700-acre man-made reservoir, to the streets of DeRidder, Beauregard Parish's seat of government. Perhaps the most unusual thing to see in all of DeRidder is the old Gothic jail, also known as the Hanging Jail. Its image is featured on the Myths and Legends Byway sign, and it's definitely one of the strangest jails you'll ever see.
It was the first jail built in the United States that had a shower and a commode and a lavatory and a window in each cell. It got its name as the Hanging Jail. In 1928, two young men, Joe Gina and Moulton Brasso, they killed a taxi cab driver here in DeRidder. And they took his body up to Vernon Parish and hid it under a bridge at the old Fullerton Lake. And they took his car and they came back to DeRidder and they picked up two young ladies. And they went to Beaumont and they spent a few days in Beaumont, and they brought his car back to the Fields area, which is in the south part of Beauregard Parish, and they set the car on fire and burned it down there in the woods. And they were caught and went to court and were convicted and sentenced to be hanged. And they were hanged in 1928 in the old jail.
The old jail is currently undergoing renovation and restoration, but Gary Crow, president of the parish police jury, was happy to show us around and tell us more about this unusual place.
It was finished in 1914. It was originally built to house 13 prisoners. There was a an apartment in the lower floor for a jailer. There are individual cells in there. They're completely self-contained. When the jail was originally built, that's what they got to sleep on.
No mattress?
No mattress, they got a blanket.
And you could sleep on top of the blanket?
You could sleep on top of the blanket or under it or roll up in it. But,
yeah, well, this isn't very, I don't think this would work for me. Oh my gosh, that's hot.
They kept that same blanket 30 days. If they needed towels or washcloths or anything, the family had to bring them.
Besides being the parish's highest-ranking elected official, Crow has a more personal connection to the old jail. His wife actually lived here and grew up inside these concrete walls while her father was the parish warden or jailer. Crow admits it was quite unusual to pick up his Friday night date at the parish jail. But more unusual, perhaps, is the fact that they were actually married here on Friday the 13th, no less. They talk about their wedding in the 2012 documentary, Hanging Jail.
But it was customary that people married at home.
This room was part of the apartment for the jailer to live in. This was the living room. On Friday the 13th in the old Beauregard Parish Jail, we got married standing right about where I am now. That was 52 years ago this past November that we got married right here. And we like to tell people that we got married on Friday the 13th in the old jail.
The old hanging jail, just one of many interesting places to visit along the Myths and Legends Byway when you ride Beauregard Parish.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of LA Rider and that you'll come back next week for more. Like we always say, we haven't been everywhere, but it's on our list. I'm Amanda Jo. See you next time for more LA Rider.
LA Rider is brought to you by Dudley DeBosier Injury Lawyers, serving Louisiana motorcyclists and their families for nearly 2 decades. Dudley DeBosier, official injury lawyers for the Motorcycle Awareness Campaign.
When you're on a motorcycle, you got to look out for all kinds of stuff. But after a crash, it's a danger you can't see that can really get you.
The insurance company is working behind the scenes to deny you compensation.
They're building a case against you, but at Dudley DeBosier, we're working for you.
Keep your head on a swivel. Let these guys look out for you. Motorcycle crash? Demand different. Demand Dudley DeBosier. 444-4444.
God bless Chrome Cowgirl.